Hello there, world of tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be showcasing the Bisante C45, which I consider to be one of the most overpowered tier 8s in the game. And what's crazier is the fact that Wargaming is releasing this vehicle for absolutely free. Anybody can get their hands on it. All you gotta do is win battles. We can see right here we have the Blitzfest Quest. There are 3 different paths that you can take. The first path requires you to spend gold. That's not free. The other path requires you to use these purple tokens. To get these purple tokens, you have to buy gold bundles. Again, not free. But the red path gives you these little victory tokens, and if you spend exactly 155 of these tokens, you will be able to get your hands on the Bisante C45. So, in other words, you need to win 155 games. However, you also can get tokens by getting Mastery Badge Class 1 through 3s or an Ace. In other words, you can probably get it in about 100 victories. That's not too bad at all. All you got to do is win about 10 to 12 battles a day, and you've got your hands on a Bisante C45. Now, what makes this vehicle so overpowered? Well, let's do a very quick overview of its statistics. First of all, this tank has 2,750 damage per minute. That on a tier 10 heavy would be considered great. On a tier 8, that is downright ludicrous. Not only does it have great DPM, but it's got a double shot gun. You can see Shell 2 is definitely the highest DPM. It's a 4.8 second reload paired with a 2-second intraclip. So in total, 6.8 seconds for 310 damage per shot. And that's where that 2700 DPM is coming from. If you shoot Shell 1, you got a 16.3 second reload. So you got to wait a while to get those shells back. You really should only dump into your first shell if you have free damage. You're not going to be able to reload or shoot anybody after that amount of time. So it's really going to be a calculated estimate on whether you should fire that second shell or not. But in general, this tank has crazy good DPM, and it's got a super dangerous gun. It also has great levels of pen, 240 on the standard, 290 on the gold. It has great gun depression at 8 degrees, and a turret which is literally impervious to anything that fires heat as a premium shell. And even if you do have APCR premium, you still need about 280 millimeters to cut through the vehicle's turret. Add all that with the fact that it has a great power to weight ratio, and it reverses at 19. Yeah, this tank doesn't really have any downsides. The games you're about to watch were played back to back, and you can see that here. Both victories, and both played within 10 minutes of each other, and that's just because the matchmaker didn't want to throw me into a battle. So I'm going to showcase just how incredibly overpowered the T77 is in these 2 games. The first one brings us to Black Goldfill. Not my favorite map, but because this tank is so flexible, so mobile, and so crazy on its DPM, it doesn't really matter what map we are stuck on. So up against us, we have an IS-5, an IS-3, and a T-77. Pretty dangerous vehicles. Definitely the most dangerous of those are the T-77. But honestly, the T-77 doesn't scare me that much, because that vehicle is a double-shot autoloader, but it doesn't have DPM. I have the DPM, and I still have 2 shells if I ever need to use them. So we got the IS-3 in front of us here, and you can see that pretty good accuracy. It does have a long aiming time. This vehicle has over a 4-second aiming time, which is pretty poor. But thankfully, once you are aimed in, it's very accurate, and you can see you don't really have to worry about your shots missing. So we've already dealt 580 damage into this IS-5, and we get another shell into his vehicle, another low roll, but I don't care. We've already dealt 900 damage to this player, and I mean, what's he going to do? We get another shell into his upper plate. You can see, even with the IS-5 armor buff, the premium and standard pen on this vehicle is super good. Another AP shell into the IS-5. That player is knocked out of the game, and we've already racked up 1,500 damage, and now we're going to aim it on the enemy IS-3. We get an easy pen into the upper plate for 340. The enemies are taking care of our teammates, but at least I got the Arak over here. So the Arak's going to get behind the IS-3. I'm going to reload my shell again, and boom. Get another nice 286 damage shell, and we get a clearing finale shot, dealing 553 in total to that IS-3. So we are now up to 2,700 damage. Yes, you've heard that correct. It has been less than 2 minutes since the game started, and I'm up to 2,700 damage. And in just a moment, we will have our second shell back. And there you go. So the Ferdinand shoots me, and that gives the Arak the clear to go over to the side of the Ferdinand. I'm going to aim in another shell on the Ferdinand for 283. Man, I'm really low rolling these shots right now, but doesn't matter. We have so much DPM. I just reload another shot take the Ferdinand out of the battle. 3,400 damage now. The enemy team has 3 vehicles left. They have a 700 health T-26E3 Eagle 7. They have a 240 health Type 62. And a fairly healthy T-77. That T-77 is definitely a threat, with 380 damage per shot. I'm not a one-clip, but I'm able to be brought to a one-shot if that vehicle does shoot me, and I don't really want that. So we're going to take out this T-26E3. There's a 400 damage high explosive, and there you go. And that's a great example of where your reserve shell can be used, right? I clear that player, and then I just back up. That T-77 has no way of getting to me. And even if that T-77 does get to me, I have the Airac, and I have an SU-152 near me. So, yeah, it's not like they're going to be able to just drive over the ridge for, no punishment. So there you go. We've already got our 2 shells back. Great example of how you want to use this vehicle's double shot. Clear somebody, back into cover, and when you don't need that DPM, you're going to be completely fine. We are up to 4,100 damage at this point. We have the Type 62 right in front of us. Unfortunately, the Type 62 does end up clearing my SU. And because my T-29 is completely AFK, right now it's a 2 versus 2. And my Airac is a one-shot. But T-77 is in the open. I just saw him shoot, and I saw that he missed the Airac before. So that means the T-77's on a 20-second reload. So I just need to take... Yep. The Type 62 out of the game. Just like that, now all that's left is the T-77. And judging that I still have the Airac left, I'm not worried at all. I'm going to push up here. T-77 cannot kill me with a one clip anyway, so I'm fine. We're going to aim it on his side. Damn. Goes into the turret, but not the correct spot. But it's fine. T-77 drives into the wall. We get 1 shell, tracking for 350. Our second shell clears him from the game, brings us up to 5 kills, 5,210 damage dealt, and one of the easiest carry victories I've had in a very long time. This is such a good example of why the Bisante is just... It's insane. I mean, it really is. What else do I need to... Oh, my game crashed. Alright, well, we're back, and let's take a look at this second game. While we don't deal as much damage or get a crazy carry like the first battle you just saw, it's still such a good showcase of how quickly the Bisante is able to deal damage, rack up kills, and secure victories. I really don't think that anybody's going to struggle in this tank unless they dump their reserve shell. If you're a beginner and you think that dumping your reserve shell is going to benefit you, it's not. You should not be shooting it. And just because you see me shoot it does not mean you should, because at the end of the day, I'm making calculated plays, and I'm an experienced enough player to know whether it's going to benefit me or not. But as a beginner, you should really refrain from firing that reserve shell. It is going to hurt you more than it helps you. But speaking of the reserve shell, we're going to get 2 shots into the T-69. Now, if you're wondering why I did that, it's very simple. I was assuming that our team would clear the T-69, and therefore, that player is knocked out of the battle. And that's really the only reason, right? I'm dumping my reserve shell when I'm trying to take a player out of the game. Because now that's 1 less tank I have to deal with. It's not like I have to worry about the Chiri. So you might have to sacrifice sometimes a little bit of your DPM, but if it's going to clear a player, it's still worth it. So we have the enemy Chiri in front of us. Easy shell into that player. They're knocked out of the game. Now we're going to move up. What else do we have? We got the M3O, Semovente Conchicaro 56. All right, let's aim it on the SMV. Boom. We damaged that player's ammo rack. Ooh, damn. I was really hoping we were going to ammo rack that player. The first shell damaged it. I was just... That's the one nice thing about having 2 shells, is that you can potentially ammo rack someone, but I took the risk. I still got damage, but I wasn't rewarded the full chunk of damage I was hoping I was. Now, I wasn't sure if this Borsig was staring at me, but obviously, since they shot me, they were. But I don't really care. They only did 500 damage. We still shot him back for a decent amount. We've already dealt 2,000 damage, and now we have the SMV. We got 1 shell into that player, 2 shells into that player. They're out of the game. Again, you can see a good example of when I dump my reserve shell. And now I have to climb up a hill to deal more damage anyway. So that's what we're going to do. The enemy Borsig gets spotted, trying to aim in on me, but obviously they don't have the gun depression, and then they just die. I don't know what that player is doing, but I don't really care either. They're not a threat. We know where the T-32 was last spotted, and there's no way that player with its 10-12 reverse was able to get out of there, so now we're going to start ripping out some free damage into the T-32. We're already up to 2,700, which means 1 more pen, and boom! 3,100 damage dealt. Okay, well, let's reload again. 2 more seconds, we'll have another shot, and I know I out-reload the T-32, so I'm not worried about that at all. There's 1, there's 2, another awful set of rolls, but you know what? I don't care. We're up to 3,700 damage already. All that's left is the Bisante at this point, and, well, the Bisante is basically dead. There you go. They got knocked out of the battle. So just like that, 3,700 damage. Did that feel like a 3,700 damage battle? No, it didn't. It felt like the freest farm I've ever had. In any other heavy, that would have been like a 2,000 damage battle max. But in this tank, it just rips out damage. You don't even feel like you're dealing damage until the end of the battle, and you're like, what? Where did I deal almost 4k? But yeah, the Bisante is an incredibly overpowered tank. Get your hands on this vehicle. All you have to do is literally win 10 to 12 battles a day, and you'll have it. It is not challenging. It is super easy to play. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. As always, if you enjoy content like this and you want to see more, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.